Casper, this is your biggest title of your career. It's not been long since you finished, but how are you feeling after such an achievement?
Amazing, of course. It's a mix of somewhat of a relief and happiness and just pure joy. I know based on the last years that I've had on tour how tough it is to do well at the biggest tournaments, and I've never been able to get over the finish line as a champion, but today I was able to, and this week here in Madrid, so extremely happy and proud, of course, that I was able to stay focused, determined throughout the whole match. I got, after losing the second set and kind of the momentum switched, I bounced back and played. Particularly very happy with the last game that I played, and proud that I finished it off in that way.
Casper, you couldn't repeat in Barcelona that it's only a 500, but great title. But now Madrid, you are uniting the two cities.
Yeah, yeah. It's yeah. Of course, Barcelona didn't go as well as I hoped, but I lost to Holger there, who won the tournament. He was playing amazing, so it was okay. I wasn't too hard on myself after that loss. I just realized that I wasn't good enough that day, and I came here practicing and got some days of practice before starting, so that was good, I guess. And from the first match, really, I felt the ball great, and the courts here, and I've been able to beat a lot of good players on the way, and topped it off with maybe one of the best matches for me of the year today, and super happy to kind of bounce back a little bit and get my season turning around to something very positive. So hopefully I can keep going from here.
Hey Casper, congratulations.
Thanks.
You seem like over your career you've seemed to handle tough losses and big losses like quite well in a way, like without any drama or anything. So I'm curious just actually how tough has it been to, you know, come so close to winning big titles in the past but not get over the line, and obviously now that you have done that, how satisfying is it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in, I guess, like this was my 7th big final, yeah, if you count them all. So 7 is like a lucky number, I guess. So it was worth the wait in the end. But I have never really been too close in any of the finals. When I look back, I've lost in majority of them straight sets. But when I lost the second set today, I was kind of a bit frustrated. Jack really stepped up and deserved that second set. But I felt like I was in a good position. You know, I was 7-5, 3-2, and then suddenly, boom, 3-6. So, but I told myself, try to stay positive. You know, if you had been offered at the beginning of the week that you will play the third set for the trophy, you would probably take it. And you never know what can happen in the third set. It's only one set. And luckily, I was able to keep the break all the way. And this tastes, of course, very, very good. And I think it's something that you need to be able to handle and move on from tough losses. If you want to improve and you want to become a better player in any sport, you need to be able to kind of erase memory fast. And some losses have been harder than others to do, but all losses that I've had the 6 previous times have been contributing to motivation to get it done today.
Hello, Casper. Congratulations. You said as an introduction that you feel relieved. Did you feel like under pressure over the past years to go in finals without winning?
Well, I mean, even though I won today, my record in big finals is still not good. It's 1-7, 1-6, but I've been in many unbelievable and incredible positions in my career, and been able to experience some great things, and unfortunately been on the losing specter of many of those matches, but that's okay. In many ways, my career has gone better than maybe I thought was possible sometimes, and of course I've always dreamed about winning tournaments like this or Grand Slams or becoming world #1, and I've been fairly close, but it's not like I was serving for the match anytime or super leading like crazy and then choked and lost in a way. So I've just played better that were players that were better than me, and I've tried to learn from that and think that one day there will come another opportunity and maybe I can seize it. And I guess that was the key to the victory today. I mean, Jack is an incredible player and he'll only get better and better. And I knew that based on the previous 6 losses that if I don't bring my A game, I have nothing to do there on the court. So that was the mentality.
Just on Jack, just curious, yeah, what makes him such a tough opponent?
I think that he has very little or few holes, if any, in his game. Look, he's a quite tall guy. He's big, strong, and then he also moves great. He's able to defend really well and also play aggressive. He moves, like I said, great to be a fairly tall guy, and of course he has that lefty tricky serve, and also everything kind of gets opposite when you're playing a lefty. But I was super impressed, and particularly first and second, or even the whole match, with how he handled my heavy forehands down to his backhand, which is something that I feel like is my weapon and my way of kind of damaging my opponent's game. And it's probably my favorite shot, ripping a heavy forehand cross, and he's just there like stepping in and countering like with even faster sometimes and changing direction. So that's something I was really impressed with, and that's not easy to do on clay. Because you will have some wrong bounces and such, but he managed to do that almost all match really well, and he only hit a few errors that came at a crucial time for him. But yeah, you're scared of his forehand because he rips it cross, rips it down the line. You're also in a way scared of his backhand because he can rip and counter from that side as well. So there aren't much holes in his game that I see or that I feel, and especially here on clay, which is maybe I don't know, but maybe his least favorite surface so far in of his career. But he has definitely got an incredible future on any surface now, and with the level he's shown in here in Madrid.
Casper, a few days ago you said it would be ironic if you win here. Do you still think it's ironic? And are you going to work again with the mental coach who helped you recently?
I still kind of feel like it's a bit ironic, yeah, because if you look at my year this year, has been one really good tournament, which was Dallas, where I reached the final, and other than that, it's been earlier losses than I hoped, more losses than I hoped. But it's a long season, and I've tried to think about that. It's like a marathon, not a sprint, kind of that saying. But the clay season I love it, but it's not that long. So, I mean, I lost earlier than I wanted in Monte Carlo and Barcelona, and the kind of tournaments, the weeks they go on, and if you don't do well, you kind of feel like, oh, I need to do well now. So here in Madrid, I really stepped up, which is a good feeling. But if you look at my last year, it was maybe would be less surprising if I was able to win a big title last year because of the other results I had. But since Roland Garros last year, I've had quite many months of struggling and not many good results. So it's worth the wait, and I think I've accepted that I've had to, or I took 1 or 2 steps back in my game and in my feelings on court in order to take 2 or 3 steps forward again. And here in Madrid, it feels like I've taken 4 steps forward. So that's a great feeling.
Hi, Casper. Gorka Grande for El Chiringuito. First of all, congrats on your victory. I assume that you've been so focused on tennis in these last 2 weeks, but I don't know if you have enough time to visit some places in Madrid. I know that you are a football fan, a Liverpool fan, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if you visit, for example, Santiago Bernabeu or any other football stadium.
No, I wasn't able to this year. I wanted to, but there were no tickets, unfortunately, when I looked at it for... It was 2 weeks ago. I think they played Athletic Bilbao 2 weeks ago at home, but I was watching, obviously, when they played Barcelona in Sevilla, the cup final, and today they played again, so I was not able to watch anything there, but I've been there before, and the stadium is incredible, and it's always fun here in Madrid. You see some of the football players, they come to watch. Today, I think I saw Ronaldo was there watching, so I know he likes tennis, and it's a really cool city. I mean, it doesn't have like a shoreline or water, but it's a beautiful city. And I went one of the first days I was able to go to Laureus Awards, which was also incredible. So I've had a great time in Madrid, and I will, when I leave tomorrow, I will look forward again to coming back next year.
Casper, congrats for your victory.
Thanks.
On court, you said that you came here 15 years ago as a young fan to watch tennis. I don't know if you have any remember of that visit, or what match did you see, or anything about?
Yeah, I remember. I have my grandmother. She gave me like a trip anywhere I wanted in Europe when I was 10. When I turned 10, that was like my birthday gift from my grandmother. And I said I wanted to go and watch tennis, and Madrid was a good option. I think it was one of the first years Madrid was played here in Caja Mágica. So I have another family member who lived in Madrid, so we stayed at her place and just came here for 2 days and watched tennis. I remember I got Novak's signature, and I was watching Rafa and Roger and Söderling, who was a Swedish, of course, and even like Tommy Haas practicing. I loved every minute watching the players play, either match or practice. So it's really fun to come back as a player yourself. And I have a picture. I think she has a picture, my grandmother, of me when I was here, and you can see the joy on my face watching tennis. And it's an incredibly cool stadium, and a dream come true, you know, honestly, to have this trophy here as I've been here since I was 11 years old. Huh? I think it was 2009, maybe. I don't know what first year was. 2009 here? Yeah, I think it was here, 2009.
Yes, Casper here. The French Open is approaching. Is this title here changing something big for you in terms of confidence or the way you approach the tournament there? You played the final 2 times there.
I hope so. Honestly, with this win, I put myself back in a good position when it comes to ranking and seeding. So, in a way, if you want to win a tournament, you can say that it doesn't really matter what your ranking is, because you have to beat every player you play anyways. But it's a good step forward. And when I come to Paris, I will always have a great feeling and memories from the place, and think that I'm a good clay court player, and best of 5 set I will be even tougher to beat on clay. Kind of, that's my mentality, and I know I don't need to play great every point or every single match, but I know that I can physically be there for a long time and play my clay court game and make it difficult for the opponents. That's kind of how I felt when I've done well there. So I will enjoy this tonight and prepare as well as I can for Rome in the coming days. And then after Rome, I'm entered for Geneva, and then after that we will see how it goes in Paris. But there are still some really exciting weeks coming up, and I guess a win here shows the other players also that I'm here to try to do well for the rest of the clay season.
Your support for Iga Swiatek, do you follow female tennis, or is that you are just a gentleman, or is because it was from your heart?
No, I honestly, I went online and I saw this video of her where she looked devastated on court, and I don't know, I wasn't in her head, obviously, when I knew how she felt, but it felt like she needs some support maybe. So I just tried my best to cheer her up. I think she's an incredible player, and not only her, I mean, I think the women's tennis is really cool to watch these days. You have Sabalenka dominating. Iga has won already 5 slams in a young career. Coco is there now, number 3. And so on. So those 3 have been really cool to follow and watch. And the final yesterday, I watched a bit of it. So yeah, I follow a little bit, and I think Coco is also really cool to watch. Personally, I like both Coco and Iga because I think they play very explosive. They move well to be women, and they can slide. And I think this is cool to see that the women have also taken like their athletic abilities to the next level. So yeah, it's I like to follow and see how they develop their games, and I think Roland Garros this year should be very open for, I think, both men and the women's side.
Bad luck, Jack. Great fight. Just you said on court that he was braver than you in the big moments. Just how are you feeling, I guess, in those decisive moments in the first set and early in the third set, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a couple of moments where I didn't feel like his level really dropped off, apart from maybe a couple of double faults he threw in third game. Whereas, mine at a couple of stages in the matches just dipped a little bit, and that was the difference. You can't do that, especially at this level against that kind of caliber of player, especially on the clay. So yeah, I mean, I thought there was a lot of good stuff, but yeah, just in a couple of key moments, I felt like his level maintained, and mine maybe just dipped off a little bit. So.
You came here seeking a breakthrough on the clay, and even though you're clearly convinced you could be a great player on the surface, how significant is it to kind of live that and to prove it to yourself that, with your performances this week?
Yeah, I think big time. When people say, "Oh, it's been a bit like, I'm not very good on the clay," whereas I knew I was good on the clay. I had a couple of really tight losses last year, and I just needed to get my foot in the door somewhere to show that I'm able to compete to a really high level on this surface. And I think this week's shown that. I think it's shown it to myself, showed it to others. I think still the biggest positive I'm taking away is the fact that I'm still learning how to move and play on this surface, and I'm right there competing with the best clay courters, the best guys on this surface in the world. So I take big encouragement from that, and I hope that I can carry on that next week in Rome, the French, and I think that gives me also big confidence going into maybe a surface that's a bit faster, which I enjoy more. To think, wow, like I'm doing this on the clay. What can I take out onto the other surfaces as well?
Hi Jack, congrats for a great tournament. You're now number 5 in the world. I think in every match you will play, you will be favorite against most of the players. So do you think you will feel something different on the cart?
On the what, sorry?
Do you feel something different from your perspective on the cart against players because you will be the favorite against pretty everyone?
I mean, not really. Particularly like I think there's my opinion. There's so many amazing players at this level. Kind of the last year or so, no matter what ranking I am, whether I'm 6th in the world this week or I was ranked 30, 20. I still went into the match, thinking there's a very high chance I could lose the match or I could win the match because the margins are so small like today. So I definitely have a lot of belief and a lot of confidence going into the matches that I can trouble anyone and be dangerous to anyone. But I also know that there's a lot of great players, like I said, who are out to get me. And so in my mind, I don't feel like I'm the favourite. I just feel like we're level, and when we compete, we start from scratch, and whoever's better on the day wins.
Hi Jack, Gorka Grande for El Chiringuito. First off, congrats for your amazing week here in Madrid. You're one of the best players this year so far in this 2025. I don't know, how do you feel now after these 5 months? If you feel amazing and you feel pride for your run from December to May, or do you feel a little bit disappointed just for this final?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like it's just fresh off losing a really tough match in a final. Like I'm, that it really hurts. But at the same time, I think I've enjoyed a lot of really good successes here. I've come through a lot of matches, and so maybe this loss and maybe being in the final and not quite getting over the line just helps me to fuel my fire a bit more. That I need to keep on pushing. I need to keep on, improving. I'm really proud of the way I've been the first few months of this season. But I think the exciting thing is there's so much more to come from myself. I feel like there's still areas in my game that I can really improve. And and that's very motivating for me and my coach and my team. That I'm kind of, I honestly feel like I'm at the start of my journey. So, and I'm going to keep on improving, keep on pushing hard, and keep these sort of tough moments in my head to keep on driving myself to be better.
Jack, congratulations. Did you play in clay when you were young? Do you have clay courts in England?
Yeah, I mean we have green clay in England. Green clay. It's not the same as the red clay, but yeah. I mean when I was under 12, under 14, used to travel around Europe and play on the clay courts, and I used to actually do pretty well. Obviously, very different level being on the tour. I think it's one of those surfaces that's a bit more specialist. You know, guys grow up in South America playing on it. They play here in Spain. A lot of them grow up on it, and I suppose being from the UK, maybe because of the weather in certain situations, we've got much more hard courts. So, when I get the chance to play on the clay, I always enjoy it because I think it's good for my game. But definitely still learning how to play on it because I didn't get a lot of time when I was younger.
Given that you've broken new ground this week on the surface and in this tournament, just curious, have you learned anything about yourself over the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I think my game is improving all the time. I think my movement. I came off the back of Monte Carlo very disappointed. I played a really good first round, and in my second round, my movement was really poor. I felt really stuck on the surface. And it was like I felt like a one step forward, 2 steps back. But then coming here, I felt really really good on the court. So I'm learning how to slide into the ball better. I suppose just very proud of the way my mindset is on the clay. It's easy for maybe Andy was the same because he's done obviously so well on the clay courts as well. But it's easy from someone from say the UK who doesn't play much on the surface to think, oh, like I'm not great on this, I'm not going to be any good. Whereas I know that it's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm going to give it my best efforts to do well on it and find ways to be effective. And I'm proud of the way I've approached that. And I think with that mindset, you can go as far as you can go a long way. So I'm very proud of that, and like you said, breaking new ground.
Hi again, Jan. I don't know if you have enough time these past 2 weeks to enjoy Madrid, and if you did enjoy Madrid, what did you like the most in the city?
Yeah, I mean, went to is it Retiro Park? El Retiro? Yeah, I went there a couple of times. Obviously, being a player on the circuit, we obviously traveled to loads of amazing cities and stuff, but when you're in these tournaments, you're very immersed in the job, I suppose, and so you're coming in to train every day, and there's not a lot of time to do a lot of things that you want to do outside the courts. But yeah, definitely been to lots of nice sort of restaurants, little coffee shops. The food here in Madrid's incredible, better than UK in some ways. But yeah, I like Madrid. Every time I've come here, I think it's been really nice, and yeah, I mean I like nature sort of stuff. So the Retiro part was one to remember.
You've achieved a lot over the past year, and I noticed that whenever people ask you if you're surprised, you say no. I'm curious, just what did it take for you to kind of, I guess, open your mind and not put limits on what you can achieve?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I suppose I don't really set too many goals. I guess I say I'm not surprised because I know how much hard work I've put into getting to this point, and lots of adversity, lots of ups and downs, and I feel like I deserve it because I'm putting the sacrifices in, the hard work in every day to be the best player I can be. And so, you know, I come into each week, I'm not sure how I'm going to get on, but it seems like it's going well at the moment, and I think that a lot of that's to do with my preparation. You know, I feel good going into the matches, so I think injuries and certain things have held me back from being able to compete at the highest level, but I think it feels good now to feel like I'm more set, and I feel like I belong at the top of the game, and I'm going to keep on improving and keep on going for more, with the confidence and the belief that I have that I can go deep in these tournaments now.
Jack, it feels to us like you don't really have a weakness now. Like the forehand's clearly improved, and you talk about those improvements. Where do you think they can sort of come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think, on the clay especially, I'm a lot more comfortable moving on the hard courts and on that sort of thing. I think on the clay my movement can be better. I think my serve could definitely be better. My accuracy on my serve, you know, I guess I'm 6'4", and it is a weapon, but I think it could be better. I think my defense and my attack, the mix of that has got really a lot better. But I think there's so many chances I'm getting to come forward to the net. I don't think I utilise that enough. I think I need to keep on coming forward more to finish off the points and put more pressure on my opponents. Yeah, I think mentally as well, like more of these exposures to these big matches and key moments, I'm gonna get better. And I think physically as well, like I'm on a journey with that. I've definitely been someone who's struggled in the past with injuries and you know, not lasting as long as I wanted to, but that's improving all the time as well. But again, nowhere near where I want to be. So I think, yeah, there's plenty of things that are going to keep on improving, and I'm going to keep on getting better and better. I believe that.